When life gets unpredictable, preparation matters. In medicine, it's all about staying alert, ready for whatever comes through the door. On the road, it's no different. That's why Volvo designs vehicles to help anticipate risk, reduce harm, and protect lives. The Volvo XC90's advanced safety systems inspire confident decisions wherever the road takes you. The Volvo XC90, for life. Proud sponsor of the Pit Podcast. Learn more at volvocars.ca/safety.
Well, if there was a federal election like tomorrow, who would you vote for? How's the pandemic shaped Canadian politics? Joining me on the line is Philippe J Fournier from 338canada.com, also a Macleans contributor. Hi, Philippe. How you doing?
Good morning, Elias. Good to talk to you.
It's great to talk to you. Hey, do you know this story? This is just breaking in the last half hour. Did you hear the news about Alexandre Cusson?
Did he drop out?
33 minutes ago, in fact, on his Facebook page.
Wow.
He has dropped out of the race. So let me just read you bits and pieces here. He says he's been thinking about this a lot over the last little while. He has a bit of a dilemma because, he has not been making an income while he joined this race. Faced with the prospect of that continuing for much longer because of the pandemic, that factored into the decision, saying that, of course, at this time, you're not going to be allowed to have gatherings and rallies and all that kind of stuff. And that is also makes it sort of a dumb time to try and become a leader of the party. So he's dropped out. Sort of, and he sort of sent a letter to the Liberal leadership, I guess, trying to make the case that now's not the time at all for a leadership race. But of course, that just leaves Dominique Anglade in the running right now. But Cousson's out, FYI.
So can I just already call the 2022 election for the CAQ?
Is that it? Like, but does it change anything if they had a leadership race in the next month and they had a leader today or whatever? Would that really change anything?
Well, I don't think it would change much right now, of course. But the smart thing for the Quebec Liberals to do would have been to postpone the leadership race at least for the fall, or maybe all the way to Christmas, because there's no point in holding on one now. But I can tell you that right now, the many CEQ staffers are dancing around and very, very happy knowing that Ms. Anglade will probably be the Quebec Liberal leader.
So in their estimation, Dominique Anglade would be good for the CAQ?
Well, I'm not saying that Dominique Anglade would be a bad leader at all. It's just that the Liberal strategy should be at least to get out of Montreal and reach out to the regions. And Ms. Anglade will be seen as a Montreal candidate, and she's running in NDG, I believe, and so. Yeah, it doesn't help this separation that we have between Montreal and the rest of Quebec right now, and the CAQ is just feasting on that. So
I think she's like St. Henry, right? I think that's
I think that's
St. Henry.
Right. I think that's correct.
What are the latest provincial? Since we're talking provincial politics, before we get into the federal stuff, what are the provincial polls tell us right now? We know that at the start there, François Legault had like a 95% approval rating for his handling of COVID-19. I know the schools and reopening the schools has caused a lot of Quebecers to rethink that, but what do we see right now?
Well, the latest numbers from Léger on the approval ratings of the handling of the crisis across the country for François Legault, it's gone down 7 points, but it's still astronomical at 88%. Any premier, any prime minister would gladly take such a rating of 88% approval rating. But it has gone down because, of course, there's a higher uncertainty now. And we will see Léger tomorrow will have an update on these numbers, and the poll will have been taken during the weekend. So just as schools are restarting to open outside of Montreal in Quebec. And so I'm looking forward to see how those numbers changes. But as long as the Liberals and the Parti Québécois don't have a permanent leader, the CAQ is just has a free ride right now.
Absolutely. We're with Philippe J Fournier of 338canada.com, also Macleans contributor. So let's talk federal, since it seems like the CAQ has everything going for them, at least provincially, and doesn't have much competition. Federally, you have seen a bump for the prime minister, right?
That's right. His
ratings have gone up, not to François Legault numbers, but they have gone up. How is this affecting, the battle between the Conservatives and the Liberals and the other parties?
What's really interesting, I think, is, of course, we're not going to the polls right now. There won't be an election in a very short term. So, of course, this is highly hypothetical. But when we look at the handling of the prime minister's, the handling of the crisis, early in March, it was a low number. We thought that Justin Trudeau was generally slow to react. But then, of course, as weeks gone by, we saw his rating go all the way up to about 79%. So about 4 in 5 Canadians say they are satisfied, not with Justin Trudeau himself, but with his handling of the crisis. And of course, during that crisis, we saw the Conservative leadership race just take a pause and then come back, and then the news has not been very favorable to the leadership candidates for the Conservatives. And so all that taken together show that right now the Liberals have about a 10 to 12 point lead nationally. They lead by a wide margin in Ontario. They have taken back the lead in Quebec over the Bloc Québécois. They lead in Atlantic Canada. Wow. And my numbers right now show that the Liberals would easily win the majority if a vote could be held right now.
At 10 to 12 points, wouldn't that be a big majority?
It would be a blowout, yes. The majority threshold at the federal level is 170 seats, and right now my numbers show about 194 seats for the Trudeau Liberals. But again, we have to take this into perspective that the Conservatives do not have a leader, and those who want to be the leader of the Conservatives have not looked good in the past month. And so that bump for the Trudeau Liberals, it may stay high, but it will not last that high. It would be highly unlikely.
But if you are the Liberals and you're looking at that, wouldn't you say to yourself, you know what? Let's try and create a scenario where we get an election sooner than later, right?
It could work. We've seen Jean Chrétien in the early 2000s take the alliance, the Canadian Alliance, if you remember, by surprise by calling an early election. Yeah. We could see Justin Trudeau. Let's say the situation goes better right now than right now in the fall, maybe the late fall after a U.S. presidential election. I could see a case being made, but if it looks like too much opportunistic, it could backfire. And so you have to be very careful. Right now, the Liberals are leading as if they had a majority. And so do they really need a majority right now? I'm sure it would be, they would like it, but does Canada really need a majority government right now? I'm not too sure about that.
And let me ask you this, Philippe, because in the last few days, the Bloc Québécois has really ramped up attacks on what they call interference, and the Canadian scientists should not be telling us in Quebec what to do and that kind of stuff. Yeah. Is that because the polling is showing the Liberals in the lead in Quebec?
There's no doubt. There's no doubt about that. I mean, the Bloc Québécois, we can say it, right? They're not doing badly at all in the polls. They're around 30% in Quebec, but they see that in February, before this crisis began, they were actually leading by 5 to 10 points over the Liberals in the province, and they could realistically claim that they represent the majority of Quebecers. But that's not the case anymore. I think the Liberals' rating have been going up in Quebec since I'd say the past month. Mm-hmm. But again, when I look at the strategy from the Bloc Québécois, I mean they're riding up the base. Do you grow your base by just playing, being offended all the time? I'm not sure about that. But Yves-François Blanchet is a really good communicator, and he's whatever you think of him, he's really good on Twitter. And so
good on Twitter. And he's good on TV too. He is just a really effective communicator, like you put it. Very quickly here, Philippe, and it's good that it's quick because you may not have an answer here. Do we have any data about that Conservative leadership race? Do we have any inkling? Do you have anything that you can go on?
Nothing that has been leaked so far. I've been looking at. Don't worry, I've been looking for that. I want that data, but I think it's going to come when the registration closes, which is May 15th, which is later this week. So I expect posters to go on the field to test that. But right now, the McKay would still be considered the favorite, but you need 50% of members on your side, and he doesn't have 50% of members. And so you're going to see both McKay and O'Toole try to please the base of Derek Sloan and Leslyn Lewis, social conservatives, to get over the hump.
And it's so interesting how that's going to play out. Who can court the most social conservatives into their camp?
That's right.
It's going to be so interesting when they finally pick someone. Philippe J Fournier, you are the man. Thanks so much for coming on the air.
I appreciate that. Have a great day, Elias.
And go check out Philippe J Fournier's data. Man, he's got good data. 338canada.com.